My first question, in the PBO's 2022 report titled Planned Capital Spending Under Strong, Secure and Engaged Canada's Defence Policy, 2022 Update, it states that the capital spending from 2023-2024 through until 2027-2028 potentially raises questions regarding the ability of the government to manage increased procurement activity. Could you possibly speak of any recent progress the government has made towards ensuring procurement problems do not arise when they dial up defence spending over this period?
Sure. So when we released that report, we indicated that the government was underspending compared to its planned capital expenditure under Strong, Secure and Engaged to the tune of about $8 billion over a 4-year period, which led to a shortfall of about $2 billion per year. And the government has, at that point when we released our report, had revised its capital expenditures to make up for that shortfall. With respect to whether we have more information, I'll let Christopher answer that part of the question.
The only thing I would add is that we know that in 22-23 there was a shortfall as compared to planned SSE spending of about $1.5 billion in capital, and 23-24, present fiscal year, the main estimates suggest that the shortfall will be about $4 billion. So there was over $10 billion planned spending under SSE for 23-24, and only $6 billion was asked for in the main estimates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question. So I understand that there are excessive project specifications and that they're a major factor with regards to the timeline that we see for many defence procurement projects. Would you be able to explain how we could speed up things by eliminating unnecessary specifications?
So it's a delicate issue because we're not military experts when it comes to the needs of the Canadian forces. And it's difficult for us to determine whether these specifications are excessive or not. We can, however, provide general statements or general observations when it comes to defense procurement. So there's clearly no single point of accountability, which may explain the delays in part. So, for example, there are at least 2 ministers and 2 departments involved in major procurement processes. Major procurements are ultimately resting upon political decisions. And there's also contracting approaches that favor industry partners and tend to cede control from the federal government. So when it comes to the specification aspect, there are obviously unique specifications required due to Canadian specific characteristics, landmass size and climate, but there could probably be improvements when it comes to specifications that would benefit from being clearly delineated from the get-go as opposed to changing the specifications once the procurement process is launched.
Okay, perfect. So just to take further your response to that, so if the dispersion of responsibilities across several different government departments and agencies, do you agree with the diagnosis that having a single point of ministerial responsibility would contribute to a faster and more efficient procurement process?
It would certainly be contributing factor and something that would favorably enhance the speed of procurement and the efficiency of the procurement process to have one single minister and one single senior official responsible.
Okay, thank you. Further, with regards to reassignment of authority, it's often been said that the defence procurement is its own beast and therefore it may not be appropriate to assign the responsibility over to PSPC. Do you agree with this characterization? And if so, what department or agency would be most appropriate for managing it? And why do you think that?
That's a question that I don't think I'm in the best position to answer as to who should be responsible. I think as long as there is one organization or minister or senior official that is ultimately responsible with the right skill set and the right support structure behind them, that would be appropriate, whether it be PSPC or National Defense or even somebody else. I don't think is material or matters that much as long as they have the right skill set and the appropriate structure to support them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question. In the PBO's 2022 report titled The Industrial and Technological Benefits Policy, an analysis of contractor obligations and fulfillment, it stated that the ITB policy affects the outcome of a competitive procurement process and that a supplier that proposes lower value for money or a higher price could still be awarded a multi-million-dollar contract if it promises greater economic benefits to Canada. So in your view, does the eventual ITB benefits generally exceed the extra costs?
Again, it's a value judgment that is a bit difficult to make or to decide upon, because there are reasons why the ITBs have been put in place. One would need to look at the counterfactual to determine whether, in the absence of ITB, what would be the price and what would be the economic benefits. What we have found, though, and what's surprising to us, is that even if there are multipliers that reduce the dollar requirements for ITB investments for corporations in post-secondary education, for example, or research and development, very few of these, of the value of these contracts go towards the higher multiplier effect, which suggests that the ITB may not be working fully as intended when it comes to multiplying the economic impacts in these high-value sectors such as post-secondary education and research and development.